What's up, everybody? Alex here with a fresh cup of coffee, the last cup of coffee for 2023. This is going to be my year in review for 2023. To save some time, I'm not going to go over every card that you see here, and what I do show, I'll show fairly quickly. But if you're interested, I've included the links to some of my personal favorite videos that I made throughout the year, which spotlight each card in a little bit more detail. So if you're drawn to any of these cards, have a look in the description below, or you can poke around in my video feed and head over to check out that card's video. But here we go. As is pretty typical for me, I didn't pick up a ton of cards this year. I don't really have that extensive a collection in general, and what I do have is pretty sparse, and that's because my focus is pretty narrow, I guess you could say. I definitely am interested in pre-war and post-war. And when it comes to post-war, I'm particularly interested in New York baseball teams from the 1950s. And you can see that from my collection this year that I've really tried to build that out a little bit more, both from the Dodgers, the Giants, and a little bit of the Yankees, although I didn't really get into too many New York Yankees cards this year, and that's something that I want to try to focus on in 2024. No super big cards in here, but these are all cards that I'm really drawn to, and the way that I collect is not based on the hobby opinion of a card. I collect a card because I'm personally drawn to it. I like the way it looks. I like the way it presents. I like the design, whether it's Topps or Bowman, the image of the player, the significance of the card in terms of the game, the history, the team. Those are the things that I'm looking for when it comes to cards, and these all fit the bill. As I've mentioned several times over the past year or two, I've been working on this Ralph Branca, Bobby Thompson project, and that definitely led to me picking up some Thompson and Branca cards over the past year. Really happy with all of these. Did a separate video on my Shot Heard Round the World collection. I've posted a video link to that in the description below for sure. Really just fascinated with these two guys. I think they're both really intriguing players and led really interesting lives that I've been delving into, and so really happy to have picked these up. These are by far my favorite cards of these two players. Also, just sort of filling out some of my Brooklyn Dodgers collection. I'm definitely drawn to the Dodgers for a lot of different reasons. And these are some pickups that I was really happy with this year. Love these horizontal cards. And one of the most unusual pickups, I guess, for me this year was this 1961 Sandy Koufax card. My only 60s card so far in my collection. I'll definitely have more in the future, but this was me crossing that border into the 1960s, usually spending a lot of time in the 50s, so was really happy to get this one. And it's a higher grade, which is unusual for me, but I just love the look of this card and I wanted it in really good condition, so was happy to find this one. Wasn't really a big year for me in terms of big boy cards. I guess you could say that these constitute the quote-unquote big boy cards for me this year. This Old Judge card, which I did a whole video on. Again, you can find the video in the description below. The Casey Stengel card, my slight deviation out of the Bowman color set into the black and white set. Just love this image of Casey Stengel. Of course, the Stan Musial card, which for me is probably my favorite pickup of the year. And I want to give a brief shout out to Hugo from Signs of the Pastime. He's holding a contest right now. So Hugo, this would definitely get my vote for my favorite pickup of the year. Did a whole video on this card and the Red Heart cards. And obviously this New York Giants exhibits card from their 1954 run to the World Series. Was kind of surprising to me to look back and realize that I didn't really pick up a whole lot of pre-war this year. These are my only two pre-war pickups, the Old Judge card and this Diamond Stars card. And it's strange for me because I really consider myself a pre-war collector. I guess what happened was I noticed a lot of the cards that I was interested in were just out of my price range, or they were being posted at prices that I wasn't willing to pay. And so I spent a lot of time in the 50s in part this year because of that. I'd really like to get back into pre-war though. It's something that I'm really drawn to. To be honest with you, that's the direction that I wanted to go in after I finished the Bowman color set. So I'm going to try to keep my eyes open this year and really try to focus back on the pre-war part of my collection. Now, not baseball card related, but I wanted to mention this towards the end of the year, of course, going into the postseason in baseball. Really enjoyed another exciting and entertaining run by the Philadelphia Phillies, my favorite team since my childhood. And one of the things that always happens to me around the postseason, whenever the Phillies are in it, it really gets me engaged with the players and the sense of history. And I like to collect autographed baseballs in connection to my fandom. And so, what I did here is pick up two players that I think, for me, stand the test of time and I will remember as being Phillies players during this time. And one of them was Zach Wheeler, who was just incredible during the postseason. I'm so glad we have him, and I'm looking forward to how he does in the coming year. So, I picked this baseball up during their run in October. And I also got this Bryce Harper baseball. Bryce Harper has been more than worth the amount that the Phillies paid for. He's been incredibly exciting to watch. You just never know what's going to happen, but you always believe when he comes to the plate that something good is going to happen. I've never seen a player like him. I'm sure looking back, I'll never forget some of the amazing things that he's already done, and there's so much more to come, hopefully. I will say, having picked up these two baseballs, although I'm very glad to have them and add them to my Phillies collection, it stands out to me that a lot of these modern players' signatures are less than impressive. I'll say that. And it really makes me appreciative of the older signatures that I have in my autographed baseball collection. I've got Joe DiMaggio, I've got Ted Williams, I've got Mickey Mantle. And boy, those guys' signatures just blow these guys out of the water. Maybe that's a video I'll do for another time. Nevertheless, definitely happy to have these guys. Now, not memorabilia related, but I wanted to mention some of these books that I picked up this year. To me, books are really a part of my collecting journey. I do a lot of reading, a lot of research. Some of them coffee table books, others more of a deep dive into different parts of the history that really help fuel the way that I search for and decide to go after certain cards. So that's it for this 2023 recap. Thanks for all the watches, likes, and comments on the videos over the year, and for all the fun times in Card Room Live. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season in general, and I look forward to sharing some more cards and stories with you all in 2024. So until then, take care, stay warm, and I'll talk to you all soon.